All right, and we look to have what it seems to be a Deathcry mirror here. I'm not surprised to see IceCon playing the Deathcry deck. This is a deck that the deck that they top 8'd the last two matches with, as well as the CCS.
Yep.
We have a pretty good hand for IceCon on their side of the table. We have Naive Lackey. Choosing not to play Lackey on one. Interesting. So we're saving this to potentially make our Ruiner Hierophant larger down the line?
Seems okay. That's a
This is why IceCon has top 8 these events that I have
rewarded.
Not. So instantly rewarded here. So we have Lord Blightbark, which is just one of the most powerful payoff cards in this Deathcry deck here. So by not playing the Lackey on 1 and drawing this Lord Blightbark on 2, IceCon is now going to get to cantrip their Naive Lackey with this Lord Blightbark because it triggers the
when you know you're drawing Lord Blightbark, it's much easier just to pass on casting your Naive Lackey one.
And not only do you have the upside of drawing a Lord Blightbark on turn 2 there, but you also have the upside of potentially making your Ruiner Hierophant larger down the line, right?
Yep, definitely. So Violenza here has a pair of Woken Drokatars in hand, which are pretty good in the mirror, to be honest with you, and they tick down relatively quickly in this, which is decent. As you can see here, what Woken Drokatar does, it's kind of unique. So it starts at 25 costs, and then other troops, when it's on the battlefield, other troops you control have +5/+5, and then when a troop enters play under your control, if this is your hand or your deck, it gets the cost minus equal to that card's cost. So it was just reduced here by a pair from the Emperor's Lackey, so it's down to 23.
23. So and remember, you have things like Promiscuous Succubus in the Deathcry deck that not only generate their 3 cost, but eventually generate a 6 cost Carnal Demon. So especially with something like Naive or Emperor's Lackey in play that lets you sacrifice troops, you can kind of turbo into these Woken Drokatar. And another important thing to worth note, if you get this Drokatar down to like 5 or 6, the first Drokatar makes the second one free.
Just a
so
combo.
It looks a little bit awkward that you have both, but it's actually, the second one is just like icing on the cake, right? Like when the first one hits, the second one's coming down that same turn as well for big boosted damage.
Alrighty, IceCon draws a little awkward. Tapped resource here.
I mean, I think a tapped slow resource is better than a non-slow resource.
Yeah.
So you just kind of want to hit. And, like, you have the Naive Lackey to play here anyway to guarantee generate value off your Blightbark, so it's not the worst.
It also could draw a 2-cost troop here, which would be
or another 1-cost troop. Honestly, I think you might.
Another 1-cost.
It's possible you want to lead on the Naive Lackey before you play this here, because you could hit another Lackey, right?
Definitely.
Okay, and we hit a slow resource here, so maybe we see the Necropolis coins and then sack the Lackey to the champion power so we can draw a card and gain 3 health. Okay, we're choosing to Fate Weave. Also very, very reasonable. If IceCon hits too many resources, remember the Necropolis coins is valuable because it can cycle itself back out.
Pretty good one here drawn from V. There's a Blightbush drawn here. So in their hand they have a pair of resources here. A Grounds Creeper, a Blightbush.
This is another powerful enabler if you get to it here, so lets you trigger your Deathcries over and over and over again. In addition, just like being a large body with lethal, so it can trade profitably in combat.
A couple Woken Drokatars and a Promiscuous Succubus still in hand here. Gonna go ahead and play out the Well of Ancients. Gonna get our Wild Threshold online.
I like this attack here, nice and aggressive. IceCon's probably gonna be able to sacrifice this Lackey to something anyways, so you might as well just like offer it. Game 1 Withering Gaze, gonna look a little bit awkward here in the mirror. It's probably a card that you want to save for the mirror until we get a little bit later when they could possibly be closer to casting their Culmination in Blood. We see the Necropolis coin get played out here as the 4th resource. Interesting that IceCon, remember, they Fate Wove last turn, so they chose to take a non-resource on top of their deck. So they don't necessarily want that 5th resource out of their deck right now. See, Promiscuous Succubus come down here, and this is going to trigger.
This is a good one.
This is going to trigger on the Blightbark, which puts the Carnal Demon trigger on this Naive Lackey. I wonder if we're going to see this champion power hit now, and not only draw 2 cards, but also create that 6/6. It's going to take this Woken Drokatar way down.
It's going to be a good one here.
Okay, just choosing to pass back here. I don't hate this either. The Naive Lackey here can chump block this Emperor's Lackey for the turn and gain you a little bit of life and still getting you those effects. And then next turn, for instance, you could sacrifice the Rooter and go fairly wide, which is great with the Woken Drokatar.
Yeah. Violenza goes ahead and plays out a 4th resource and then drops the Blightbush onto the table here.
This game's going to be over in a large explosion one way or another. Very soon with these Drokatars in both players' hand.
Yeah, Icecon has quite a bit of choices here. Could see the Withering Gaze trying to set up, cut through Hero Fall. Yeah.
Yep. And again, minor bug on the replay here. We've got two Drokatars, a Grounds Creeper, and what was the last card in there?
I don't. I think it's an Emperor's Lackey. Is the
Emperor's
other
Lackey.
card.
Sure. Yep.
I tried to write them all.
That makes sense. Yeah, it looks like there's a 4/4 over here. So
right.
Withering Gaze does brick off. They're probably going to see a Ruinir Hierophant come down for Icecon. Choose to attack first, sure.
I like it.
Offer this trade. I like it. So see Ruinir Hierophant come out here and trigger this Lord Blightbark, which will allow Icecon to go very wide. The Ruinir Hierophant generates 2 troops on its Deathcry, which is also a deploy effect thanks to Lord Blightbark.
Notably brings that Drokatar down from a 19 down to a 13 also.
I won't be too surprised if we see the Lackey or the get sacrificed there.
That's big.
And they're going to draw 2 cards from this because the Lackey draws you an additional card when it dies.
Alrighty. Looking pretty good for Icecon's side here. It could swing. It could get kind of swingy though because there are the pair of Woken Drokatars in Violenza's hand. So it's going to be kind of interesting here.
Remember, even though you have 2 Woken Drokatars, that's a little aggressive. We sacrificed the Emperor's Lackey, which was our free way to trigger our Deathcries out here. So. Yeah. The Ground Creeper is great, though, because it is going to allow him to target the Blight Bush, most likely, and kind of go wider for potential blockers here.
And it's going to continue to lower the costs on the Woken Drokatars pretty nicely.
So we're targeting the Succubus. Okay, and it's targeting itself. So now, next turn, if there is a next turn for V, they're going to get to go ahead and generate a demon and generate more demons. That being said, I don't think V's going to get a next turn here.
Yeah, this could spell death here.
We're going to see, Ruinir Hierophant come down here, which is going to go ahead and make the Drokatar and Ice's hand much cheaper.
Down to a 1. Yeah, we have lots of stuff going on here from Icecon.
So remember, this Ruinir Hierophant and then one of these Blight Blossoms and one of the 2/2 Abominations just came into play this turn. So Icecon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 troops that can attack this turn, and V has 4 blockers. So this attack actually wouldn't be lethal with his Drokatar. So Icecon might want to pump the brakes for a turn, perhaps just pressuring with the Carnal Demon in the sky as an 11/11, and then set up lethal next turn when you are a little bit wider in play.
Yeah, you can see here we have for Icecon a Wild Ice, a Blight Bush, a 1-cost Woken Drokatar now, and an Emperor's Lackey. You're going to go ahead and play out that Blight Bush, triggering the Lord Blightbark.
Triggering the Ruinirs, triggering the Woken Drokatar, every just triggers for everyone.
It's a giant board state here. It looks like we're in the point of the game where it's attack with everything and let you block however you deem best.
Yep. Worth noting that this can make a Carnal Demon when it dies. So the Carnal Demon's a 6/6, plus the 2 bonuses from these Drokatars only makes it a 16 on the crackback, which is going to be a little bit too few. The power on V's side of the table is going to be higher per troop, but Icecon on the back of this Lord Blightbark has just gone so wide that I'm not sure that V's going to be able to do a whole lot about it. So V's able to live through a turn here and go to 3, but they're losing their board to do so. The Drokatars over here in V's hand, they're all the way down to 4 costs, which means they can play them out. But again, Icecon's just gone so wide at this point that I don't think he's going to be able to catch back up.
Yeah, it's very hard without a catch-up card in hand.
So resource play out here, and again, this is a tournament. You're playing for real dollars, $1,000 cash prize.
Yeah.
Top 4 players make your opponent kill you.
Absolutely. So we drew a Ruinir Hierophant for the turn here.
See a sacrifice, get another Carnal Demon.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this Carnal Demon is going to be a little bit too slow. Because this Carnal Demon can't attack here, he's not going to be able to push through lethal even with these Drokatars. If this Carnal Demon had speed somehow, we could push through lethal, but they're just going to go ahead and see V pack it up and pack it in there as we move on to a second game here in the Deathcry, a mirror match between Icecon and V. Let's go ahead and see here what's going on in The second game of this as we head back on down.
All right.
Opening hands here. We have V on, and
Nice.
they're the same champion, so worth noting here. Isacon is now at the top here again.
Yeah, we did swap.
Minor thing with the replay functionality, and this time V has the Lord Blackmark. You want to be on the bottom of the screen. Is that if you're on the bottom?
I think
you
that's
have the Lord
probably
Blackmark
it.
in your
Yeah.
opener. That being said,
Ooh.
there's a Lord on Isacon's side, and there's a very potent reserve card, Waltz of the Damned. This is the mirror breaker
It
in
is
the
very
Deathcry.
good.
If you can live till turn 7, which isn't always possible. We saw Isacon push lethal before that. This card wins the mirror. You gain control of all the troops in play, and then you sacrifice all of them. So you get your Deathcry triggers and your opponent's Deathcry triggers.
Now, if you look at Isacon's hand here, he's missing something. Do you know what it is? Have you seen what it is?
He is missing a blood threshold. I bet they fate weaved. I bet they fate weaved a blood shard to the top of their deck.
Just
if I was a gambling man.
Yeah, just the perfects.
Oh, look at that. Got the turn 2 Blackmark versus the turn 2 Blackmark here.
And notably, the Monsagi Lily Pad is turned on by there's an Emperor's Lackey currently in Isacon's hand, alongside of a Hero Fall, another Wild Shard, the Waltz of the Dam we talked about, a Blight Bush, and a Woken Drokatar.
So, on V's side of the table, we have a couple of choices here. We've got this Promiscuous Succubus, or we could play this Naive Lackey and cantrip it, and then potentially play the Emperor's Lackey afterwards. So, a lot of different directions this could go.
I'm going to go ahead and play the resource efficient, the Promiscuous Succubus. And that's going to trigger from the Lord Blightbark that's in play. So V is up to 3 resources. Going to go ahead and put Succubus, looks like on itself.
Yep. And then we're
sack
sacrificing
right away.
the Succubus. Okay, I like this. Be aggressive. Because, remember, Lord Blightbark is a high priority kill target. So this not only puts 6 power into play immediately for V, but it means should Isacon have something like, I don't know, say a Hero Fall in their hand, and they want to Hero Fall this Blightbark, it's going to leave V with 12 points of power in play, which is a lot of points of power. It also allows them to make this attack here, right?
I like it.
V's generated value off of their Blightbark already, but Isacon hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, you see V also with the Tekahiro power draws Culmination Blood, which is another one of those mirror breakers you're kind of talking about. The race to Culmination of Blood is pretty real in this matchup.
Yep, so Culmination of Blood makes a single champion discard their entire hand. And this card costs 10 to start, and it gets cheaper for every troop and all crypts. And believe it or not, the Deathcry decks want to put troops in their crypts.
Very odd. Alrighty, Icecon with the Blight Bush here, going to make a couple of Blight Blossoms due to the Lord Blightbark. It's a pretty good start, and you can see also Icecon now has Culmination of Blood also.
One touch of awkwardness from Icecon's side of the table is the fact that they are missing their second Blood
Threshold's
here,
big here,
which enables not only their champion power, but also a lot of the pretty powerful cards that they have in their hand.
That's a good one. Naive Lackey.
It's a prompt draw.
Yeah. Not bad. Naive Lackey onto the battlefield here for Violenza, and it is triggered by the Lord Blightbark, so they drew an extra card here, which was the commander prompt. This is a pretty good attack here too. I don't mind this at all.
I love this pressure from V's side of the table. They're recognizing that they are the beatdown, and that if Isacon wants to trade with this Lord Blightbark, they're just going to have lethal in the air next turn. And Isacon recognizes that as well, and just chooses to chump with their Blight Blossom.
I like it. So we're in super awkward here. Another Hero Fall drawn for Icecon. So, okay, Violenza has this line available. They can sacrifice almost all of their board here and get this Culmination online should they choose to. They can sacrifice their entire board and cast this Culmination. How do you feel about that?
It's a tough line.
It's pretty apparent that Icecon is tripped up on resources.
Not to backpedal, but did V miss lethal here, actually? They could have end of turn sacrificed their Blight Blossoms to Lackey and made it of a Cardinal Demon, right?
I didn't see there. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so this Lackey's been in play for a turn cycle. And I don't think V is in a bad spot by any means. In fact, you can see Isacon conceding there. But V definitely could have had lethal 1 turn sooner had they been a little bit aggressive. And I don't think there's any 1-cost blood cards that punish you making the second Cardinal Demon push lethal in, right?
Yeah, no.
There's like Cheap Shot, but that doesn't stop them from
Cheap Shot wouldn't stop them. Yeah, not at quick speed.
Alright, so let's go ahead and pull up the third and final match in this Deathcry mirror match between V and Isacon.
Alright, here we go, a nice little game 3.
So, and again, Icecon is now on the bottom of our table here, which I assume means they're going to have Lord Blackmark in their opener.
Well.
It's got to be on the bottom of the table, man.
This is an incredible hand here.
These are good hands on both sides of the table.
Yeah, very nice.
V's hand is a little bit slow, but we see last game, Icecon had Waltz, which is a potential mirror breaker, closed coffins. Let me tell you about a mirror breaker, Matthew.
That baby's an ace. So, yeah, I really like V's hand here. This is a closed coffins alongside with the Hero Fall and the Paw of Yazakan, which is just a lot of cleanup, incidental cleanup here, which is pretty good. Although, Icecon has this really ridiculous start.
They do have the most aggressive start here. The Lord Blightbark into the Ruiner Hierophant guaranteed on turn 3 just goes so wide and puts so much power on the table that the turn 3 closed coffins might just be too slow.
Might be too slow. You never know here.
That being said, V did draw probably their second best card there. It wasn't Lord Blightbark, but they did pick up an Emperor's Lackey, so they are going to have a relevant turn 2 play of their own.
This is shaping up to be a nice one here. So Icecon drew a Strangle also here, which is pretty good. Removal's pretty high priority here, so...
Okay, V draws their third resource, but it's the slow shard.
Yes.
That's a little clunktastic there. And we see them play it out because they do need to prioritize getting this close coffins into play and then Hero Falling to start voiding everything. But,
boy.
So V's going to have a decision to make here.
Pretty good one.
Do they want to play the closed coffins, which is great if you have time to make it work, but... it doesn't impact the board on turn 3.
There's just not a lot of time here. I mean, V is already going down to 16 here, and you can see there's 10 power on the board already. So it's going to be pretty bad. It's 9.
9 power.
It's 9 power. But
so I have the math degree. I can verify things like that.
I mean, this is going to be pretty fast. I don't even with the powerful cards in V's hand, I don't think it's going to end well for him.
Yeah, and you see V go into the tank here. This is not going to end pretty. So Strangle is very good against Ruiner Hierophant in the mirror.
With the Abomination.
Because it gives the Ruiner Hierophant -4/-4 until end of turn. And because Hex tracks modifiers like that through zones, this Ruiner Hierophant will still be a -2/-2 in V's Crypt, which means that the Abomination that summons is just going to die immediately.
It's very, very tough. See,
okay.
This is another little nuance within the Deathcry deck that you have to realize is that the removal he was just literally just dead to the Strangle essentially.
Yep.
So drawing a card's not bad there.
I still would much rather be on Icecon.
There's
just a second Ruiner comes down, makes 2 more troops. Both the Runiers get larger.
Yeah.
And V go ahead and they see the rating on the wall and they pack it up and they pack it in there.
Yeah, I think V rightfully diagnosed that they were treading water until they needed resources and they needed Waltz of the Damned. So they were pretty.
Yep.
In a pretty bad spot there. So.
Let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and cut to our wonderful slides, which I'm going to slow down a hair for everyone. And stay tuned. We'll be back with another feature match here in just a second. Thanks for watching this week, everyone.